ndangahlalanga kamnandi ngoba wayendihlukumeza, endibetha, endikrwisha, nondikrwisha, and abantwana bam wayebahlukumeza.
If I can't intellectually overpower you, then I will physically overpower you.
Despite a century of emancipation, violence against women is still widespread, worldwide. Rivka Anissa in Indonesia and Mosaic in South Africa, together with the World Population Foundation from the Netherlands, over the last few years have set up programs to work with abusive men. Clients of these organizations made it clear they did not want the relationship to end, they wanted the abuse to stop. A thorough transformation of the work was needed.
When we look at the scale of domestic violence in Cape Town, it really is huge. There's about 18,000 women, I would say, in Cape Town alone every year that we assist with applications for the protection orders against abusive family members or abusive partners. So the problem is huge. If you think that is the number of women who went to court for protection orders, there are many more than that don't go to court. So the problem is of a very, very large scale.
What kinds of violences are we talking about?
We did some research. We found that about 60% of the cases involve physical violence, about 15% involves sexual violence. All the cases involve verbal and psychological abuse. So it really is serious. There are many cases where weapons are involved. It could be, pangas or knives. Not so many guns, but there are guns involved as well. And then lots of physical attacks and shoving and pulling and cutting and burning and that sort of injuries that are happening in abusive relationships.
Cape Town ranks in the top 5 of most beautiful cities in the world. But behind the glamour and glitter of Table Mountain, the waterfront and the Atlantic seaboard, life is tough. South Africa's second biggest city has a population of over 4 million people. Most live on the Cape Flats, in neighborhoods with names like Khayelitsha, Gugulethu and Mitchell's Plain. These are the areas where unemployment, crime, drugs and alcohol abuse make existence very difficult.
Our youngsters, they are more prone to crime. They don't complete their schooling. You see, they drop out of school very early and then they get involved with the wrong free crowds and then they get involved with drugs and stuff and then it breeds crime.
Doreen and Joseph Davids have been together for more than 15 years. They live in Mitchell's Plain with her oldest son and the son they have together, Jodin, who is 8 years of age. Joseph is a cleaner in a school. Doreen is unemployed. The stresses of life bear on Joseph, he says.
The other son from the youngest one, he was a drug addict. And that is became anger for me. When the police come here and stealing my stuff. But I don't have a lot of money of stuff he's stealing out my house, the youngest one. That make me angry.
The tensions between Joseph and Doreen's son brought conflict to the marriage. A visit to the court became necessary. The judge told both Doreen and Joseph to seek counseling from Mosaic.
Now we had marital problems because of the big children also, and we went to court. The court referred us to Mosaic, and they gave us counseling, both of us, and then they gave us one-on-one. He's diabetic now. He's very short. He's got a very short temper, Everything works on his nerves and then he gets upset, uptight, and then it goes like that. So they try to help him to manage his anger, to cope with the disease, because if he's going to be stressed out, he's going to stress me out. and then our whole house is going to be stressed out. So that's why we have to go there to learn, especially him. It's actually about him. But I also go because I also need that. They also teach me how to cope with him and so on.
The decision by Mosaic to approach and work with abusive men meant the organization had to thoroughly innovate. Mosaic had been set up in 1993 to assist women from disadvantaged communities, victims of male abuse of power. And now, this same organization had to find ways of including these men in the work they did to try and stop domestic violence. Marietta de Vos, Executive Director of Mosaic, explains.
So that if we want to work with males, we firstly have to find out what they think. And I think this is where the innovation came from in our project. When we started working with these male pilot project that we had, I think 16 males that we started working with, we first gave them the opportunity. We started out by asking, what is it that you want? What is your view of the role of a male in your family, in your culture? How is your family working at the moment? What is your view of disciplining and of dominance in the household? And the role. What is the role of your partner and of the children, and so on? And really giving the male the opportunity to talk and to listen without judgment at what his perceptions are, and then starting to ask questions of, okay, but if this is how you worked in the past and where violence was really entrenched in your way of dealing with problems in the family, what other things in your culture, could be used to change it? And then starting to work with a man to really let him find the answers in what are the other options, and slowly starting to work with other concepts and ways of dealing with problems, and realizing, that the individual in the relationship has so much power to change.
To facilitate that change in individual men, all three organizations needed to shift their thinking and their approach. Nur Hashim of Rivka Anissa in Indonesia explains.
Maybe, but when I say stop, you stop. Yes? And we're not going to use violence.
When we decided to involve men, it had many consequences.
Show me how you make fine.
The most important one was to learn to see men, women, and their relationship through different eyes, not as a perpetrator versus victim, but from a position of neutrality. We needed to approach the relationship where abuse happened with neutrality and help everyone involved to deal with the conflicts. For us as a women organization, feminist ideology still guides our work. Our strategy to involve men fits that framework.
What happened here?
Ketika Anda di rumah, selama pasangan Anda di rumah,
They're going to explode.
You saw that how it started and goes on.
We involve men in our work so we can stop the violence against women and to build a peaceful and just society with equal rights for all. Working with men to achieve this is, we believe, in the interest of women.
With the men's program division, Rivka Anissa is now able to target men and boys. The program does not only provide behavioral change, but also actively campaigns and runs an advocacy program.
In terms of campaign and advocacy program, Rivka Anissa has now been recognized as the leading organization on male engagement in Indonesia. Rivka Anissa also has a strong linkage with regional and global movement to engage men and boys in achieving gender equality and the prevention of gender-based violence. Our experience help us assist other organizations to build their capacity in also working with men. In the future, we will, for example, be working with Islamic Court to fight domestic violence.
While Mosaic in Cape Town and Rivka Anissa in Yogyakarta heard the requests of their female clients, their Dutch partner, the World Population Foundation in Utrecht, heard the needs from both organizations, loud and clear. A change of course was needed.
It became clear from the beginning that developing an intervention for men is implying many organizational and institutional challenges. It meant relooking at human resources policies, stressing the importance of neutrality and impartiality in capacity building, building new networks, alliances, connecting with an upcoming global men's movement, relooking at its mission, searching for new funding opportunities, etc., etc. Well, for WPF, in a broader sense, it's an interesting experience because this case can easily be linked with the so-called leerwerktraject. Key question in that context is how far should a thematic organization go with organizational strengthening for the sake of a strong intervention? Well, this experience shows that both are intrinsically linked to each other. Development of intervention results in strengthening organization. The strengthened organization leads to more effective and quality intervention, contributing to the ultimate aim of improved relationships between men and women in a non-violent community. And that's why it's so rewarding for WPF to be part of this innovative approach.
So then, the question begs, after this process of transformation, metamorphosis and innovation, what have counselors learned along the way? What have the effects been in the lives of clients? What are men taking home to their families?
Our counsellors now look back at the process and tell us that they have been strengthened immensely, not only in their counselling skills with male abusers, but also in their counselling skills with their female clients. They feel much more able to understand relationships in its full capacity and looking at the role of both partners in the relationship. And also the strengthened ability to be completely non-judgmental and to be neutral and to really look at the person in front of you as the one that I should help and not judging.
My wife asked me to join the men's programs of Rivka Anissa. I felt guilty about the problems in our relationships, and I felt humiliated about her making more money than I do. I was always repressing my feelings, but one day I spontaneously hit out at my wife. The most important thing they taught me was how to speak up, how to be assertive. They showed me the difference between being aggressive and being assertive. I now realize I need a companion to discuss my problem with.
And Joseph, the man who, according to his wife, had trouble dealing with his anger. What is it like seeing an angry man in the mirror?
And why not? What's not to like?
I like to be myself with my face. Like to make myself, not to that picture, angry picture.
And what was it like to talk about his feelings?
It's not difficult to talk to that person by the counseling. It's not difficult for me. I found it fine. It's not difficult to talk to about my feelings.
But was it liberating? Did it feel good to be able to have someone to talk about those things?
Yes.
Because it allows you to let it go.
Yeah. It allows me to let it go.